Wilmington, a town situated north of Adelaide in the southern Flinders Ranges. Recently, a study has been undertaken by the Northern and York Agricultural District Integrated Natural Resource Management Committee to provide baseline information on water resources of the Willochra catchment and identify the threats to the maintenance of the system as an ecologically sustainable resource. The hydrological assessment that commenced in February 2003 involved collecting and analysing information related to inputs and outputs of the hydrological system, which include rainfall, evaporation, stream flow, groundwater and surface water interactions and water use practices. The ecological assessment process will involve identifying ecological assets in the Willochra catchment, including permanent pools, spring and base flow, refuge areas and areas of health and biodiversity. The ecological assessment will draw on information gained from this hydrological assessment and identify threats to the sustainability of these ecological assets. The Department of Water, Land and Biodiversity is responsible for policy and management of productive land and water resources. It delivers a range of policies, programs and advice on practices relating to the integrated management of productive land and water resources. The focus of the department will be the development and management of sustainable practices and policies. Liz Risby, the project officer, was contracted by the Northern and York District Natural Resource Management Committee to conduct the project on hydrology and ecology of the Willochra catchment. Liz is based in Adelaide at the Grenfell Centre, has explained about the Willochra catchment project. Whom or what are the main consumers of water found in the Willochra catchment area at this time?
Okay, there's a broad use of water for stock, domestic, irrigation and intensive animal production in most regions. In the Willochra catchment, the primary water user is irrigation for irrigation purposes. There's a number of farm dams that are within the Willochra catchment, and I focused on the southern Willochra catchment. There was 648 farm dams with an estimated water holding capacity of about 1,400 megalitres. And when you compare that to the volume of water used for flood irrigation, which was between 2,000 and 3,000 megalitres, and most of the farm dams were relatively small, so they were less than 2 megalitres, so it's assumed that they're used primarily for stock.
Are there areas that are ecologically important, and are they subject to risk or potential risks from any kind of development or enterprise, for example irrigation or industrial usage?
Glenn Scholes, he's the senior ecologist who's been working on the project. He's identified a number of regions within the Willochra catchment that are of ecological significance, particularly in the southern reaches of the catchment, in the Spring Creek catchment, where there's groundwater sustained springs, and in those areas, particularly in ephemeral river systems where you don't have water flowing all year round, those springs are important refuge areas for the maintenance of fish and other macroinvertebrates.
Is there a risk of expanding usage on stream flow and particularly animal and vegetation requirements?
Yes, there is a risk. There's a number of diversions for flood irrigation of cereal cropping. Now those diversions happen directly from the streams, and that's as you take water out of a system, you change your flow regimes in streams. So instead of getting a range of high, medium and low flows, there's a greater frequency of just low flows. As a consequence of that, there seems to be a loss of connectivity between the southern Willochra catchment, which is the highest water generating area, and the northern part of the catchment.
Will monitoring be continued in the future to influence decisions of the management of the resources of the southern Willochra catchment area?
Definitely monitoring needs to be continued, and new stations need to be put in stream flow gauging stations and rainfall stations as well.
When this project is finished, do you think farmers will change the way they use water?
I'd hope so. The report findings found that there was a lot of ways that locals could improve their water use efficiency without too much without too much work. Work needs to be done, but it's not anything that's going to cost a lot of money. So it would be good if they took on board the report findings. But I think also they need some input as well from the Northern and York Ag District Integrated Natural Resource Management Committee, and also local councils to help them and just help maintain momentum and get projects up and running.
The Wilmington Catchment Project is a 6-year study and will not be able to give accurate data until 2009. Water is one of our most important natural resources. The need to measure water is greatly important because we need to ensure all use of water is sustainable.